The Chiefs are lacking offensive playmakers, Patrick Mahomes is playing uncharacteristically bad football, and the Chiefs are unbeaten. Because, well, of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? Another season of defensive dominance and elite coaching has set the Kansas City Chiefs on a trajectory for another deep playoff run. I mean, they have to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl and land their historic three-peat, because it doesn't matter how many players they lose on offense, they just keep rolling, and the rest of the NFL should be terrified. So, is the three-peat a lock? Now, if I told you that the quarterback of an NFL team had completed 59.3% of his passes for 154 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, you would probably tell me that that team had lost. And to the surprise, that quarterback was Patrick Mahomes this weekend, who put his lowest ever passer rating of 44.4.
Get the play off on 3rd and 1. Mahomes, pressure, fields it, throws it incomplete. 3rd and 3. Mahomes can't find anyone. He is sacked. Quick throw, chip. Oh, and it's intercepted.
And enjoyed a 28-18 victory over the San Francisco 49ers in the process. And now, yes, he was helped out a little bit by Brock Purdy, just honestly playing not that great and having a slightly below average, or I guess just a worse quarterback rating than Mahomes did have that day as well. But I mean, the reality is that this team, this Kansas City Chiefs team, can just win so many different ways right now. And I mean, it might not always be flashy how they do win, but straight up, the Chiefs just know how to get the job done. Like, I mean, in a year where the Dallas Cowboys look completely useless on the ground after rolling back the years with Ezekiel Elliott, the Chiefs have managed to find joy in plugging Kareem Hunt back into the lineup. He pounded out a very important 78 yards and 2 touchdowns at 3.5 yards per carry, keeping the Chiefs' drives ticking over. Both Elliott and Hunt have done next to nothing over the last few years and look well to be over the hill at 29 years old, but of course, it's Hunt who comes back to be as reliable weapon midway through the season, whereas Elliott looks just completely lost despite entering the year as the main guy for the Cowboys. Like, it's crazy just to see that the Kansas City Chiefs honestly just have the golden touch to revive anybody's career, I guess. And I mean, it's not even just Hunt that has come back to this Chiefs roster to just make a difference this season. Just one game before the victory over the 49ers, Juju Smith-Schuster, another written-off playmaker, corralled 7 receptions for 130 yards in a victory over the Saints. The next most productive wide receiver that day was McCole Hardman, who had 33 yards. And now, yes, of course, the main reason that the Chiefs just have to rely on these just over-the-hill veterans is because, well, a lot of their exciting young guys that they did bring in are at the medical facility right now and can't get out of there. Marquise Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice were meant to be 2/3 of one of the most exciting wide receiver trios in the league, along with rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy. I mean, the route running ability from Brown, the speed from Worthy.
But this one is going deep for Worthy. Mahomes fires, running, Xavier again.
And the yards after catch ability from Rice were meant to form an unstoppable concoction of playmaking ability that would banish the frustrating offensive play calling they had of 2023 and unleash the Patrick Mahomes that we all know and love. And at the midway point of the season, that plan is completely in tatters. Rice and Brown are gone for the year, and Worthy has struggled to find a consistent role in the offense.
Did it perfectly every time. That was sweet. Now the reverse to Worthy. Blockers in front. Stays on his feet.
Yes, he clearly does have the speed and explosiveness to break off a big play at any moment, but until he and Mahomes prove that they can hit one of those, we are back to having a Chiefs offense that is lacking options and explosiveness. Like, I mean, honestly, it just feels like deja vu from last year, besides one significant difference. Thankfully for the Chiefs, that difference is that it just doesn't seem to matter at all this year. Like, somehow the Chiefs boast an unbeaten 6-0 record, scoring 24.3 points per game and ranking in the top 10 in yardage with 350.3 yards per game. And I mean, it might not be that exciting, but they do look like a team in control and one that can beat anyone in the league. And you may have noticed that I haven't even mentioned Travis Kelce either, who currently sits at 13th among tight ends with only 245 yards. It honestly has been a quiet year for him so far, but it is worth noting that he had 89 yards against the Chargers after Rice went out injured.
Mahomes rifles it, got his man,
and then collected 9 catches for 70 yards 1 week later against the Saints. He could only manage 4 catches for 17 yards against the 49ers, but it is never easy for tight ends going up against Fred Warner, and I think that the games against the Chargers and the Saints are much heavier indicators as to what his usage is going to look like moving forward, essentially taking over from Rice on the short to intermediate routes. And I mean, this is honestly where you see the upside of the Chiefs offense. Like, somehow up against a good San Francisco 49er defense and missing Isaiah Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, and all of their other weapons that they have been trying to just keep for this year, Kansas City somehow still managed to just put up 28 points despite not having any of those playmakers. And on top of that too, this was also a game where Mahomes just practically registered his worst passing game of all time. Like, I mean, honestly, the reality is that we are just at the point of this dynasty, which I'm going to start calling it, I think, because that's what it's going to become just eventually, that we just honestly have to stop trying to just doubt this Kansas City offense and just say that they are good. It doesn't matter who they have on the field, they're going to make it work. I don't know how, but they are. Like, I mean, with Kelsey due to get easier matchups moving forward, Worthy likely to build a better rapport with Mahomes, and with Juju back on the field, they're only going to get better. The scary thing for the league though, or the scariest thing for the league, is that they don't need to get much better on the offensive side of the ball. And that's because, or I guess should be thanks to, just their incredible defense that they have. Like, it was Steve Spagnuolo, Chris Jones, and company who bailed out the lackluster Chiefs offense last year, and they are right back to their brilliant best this year in 2024, despite having lost their top cornerback in L'Jarius Sneed.
Chiefs are finalizing a trade to send cornerback L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans. That's according to ESPN. Kansas City is expected to receive a 3rd-round pick in the 2025 draft and a 7th-round pick swap in this year's draft in exchange for the 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Their 17.5 points conceded per game is the 5th best in the NFL, helped massively by the fact that they are one of the best run-stuffing units in the league. Opposing rushing attacks are averaging just 90.5 yards per game against the Chiefs, which is 4th best in the NFL. Then when teams drop back to pass, the Chiefs are generating the 5th highest pressure rate with 27.8%. This hasn't led to as many sacks as they would hope, but they are also in the top 3 with an 11% hurry rate, which shows that they are impacting the quarterback even if it isn't converting into sacks. Defensive tackle Chris Jones has been as dominant as ever, leading the team in both sacks and hurries with 4 and 21 respectively. Behind him, Leo Chanel and Nick Bolden are enjoying good seasons at the linebacker position, with Trent McDuffie and Shamari Connor headlining the talented secondary. It's a very exciting mix of talented young and versatile playmakers, and a lot of them are homegrown talent, which shows that the Chiefs are executing the dynasty blueprint perfectly. I mean, as we all know, L'Jarius Sneed was one of the team's most important players last year, tying for the team lead in interceptions with 2 and leading the team comfortably in pass breakups with 12. However, one of the problems with having so many good players is that you can't afford to pay them all. The Chiefs had to choose between Sneed and Chris Jones, and they rightly opted to prioritize the behemoth at the heart of the defensive line at a position where performance consistency is much more reliable year to year. He's continued to be a menace for opposing quarterbacks, and with Kansas City's young cornerback talent coming through in place of Sneed, the team is just conceding 17.2 points per game, almost identical to the 17.3 points they conceded per game last year. And I mean, as things stand right now, the Chiefs have to be the favorite right now, and on top of that, to achieve the historic 3-peat. While the offense still has clearly a lot to figure out, we have proven evidence that they should be able to do that by the time the playoffs come around. On the other side of the ball, the defense is still performing at the elite level that managed them to win the Super Bowl last year, and they also have one other huge advantage over every other team in the league: coaching. Following Kansas City's victory over the San Francisco 49ers, Andy Reid improved to a 22-4 record when coming off of a bye. I mean, straight up, that is no fluke. That is simply just elite coaching, especially when you consider that in this particular game, he got his 5th straight victory over the San Francisco 49ers team that has arguably been the best team in the NFC over the last recent years. With barely any offensive playmakers to rely on and his quarterback having a career worst day. Since taking over in Kansas City, Andy Reid has registered double-digit winning seasons in 10 of those 11 seasons. All 10 of those seasons resulted resulted in playoff appearances, producing 3 Lombardi trophies. He's responsible for sitting and developing Patrick Mahomes as a rookie before turning him into the greatest quarterback of all time. He then masterminded one of the best offenses the NFL has ever seen and showed his adaptability to also produce a Super Bowl from a defensive-led team in 2023. As we all know it right now, the Chiefs are just they have a dynasty right now. I don't even know how to put it into words. They're living in a dynasty right now, and Andy Reid is the one to thank for all of that. Straight up, that's all I have to say. Yes, everybody can get pissed at them for winning and just getting certain calls that everybody thinks they're getting or whatever, but at the end of the day, every team does get lucky, and of course, we're all gonna watch and want to maybe hate on the Chiefs, but I'm gonna say it. I want the Chiefs to three-peat. I'm sorry, you guys may hate me, but I want them to three-peat. It's gonna happen. I hope it does. I don't care what calls they get. I just hope it happens. But as we all know, luck is a part of the game. It's going to happen. Some people are going to get it. Some people aren't. And yes, the Chiefs might get some calls, but get over it. It happens. Your team is going to get some calls sometimes. My team is going to get some calls sometimes. And I'm a Saints fan. They didn't get the pass interference call. How do you think I feel? Okay, moving back onto this though. The reason that everything always seems to go the Chiefs' way is because Andy Reid has coached them up better than any team in the NFL and prepared them for every single moment that they come across when they step onto the gridiron.
If you got some bruises, take care of the bruises, and then we get back on it. If you forgot, we're in the championship game.
Yeah! Reid's presence on the sideline instantly gives the Chiefs a leg up over every other team they play against. He and Mahomes plus this incredible defense set Kansas City well clear as the team to beat in the AFC. And yes, there are some talented franchises snapping at their heels, but none are as well-rounded as the unstoppable Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, you can argue that Baltimore does look like the biggest threat right now with the duo of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson living up to the preseason hype and more.
Here is Henry on the reception for the touchdown.
Henry is on track to pass the 2,000-yard rushing mark for the second time in his career at the age of 30, and Lamar Jackson is somehow playing the best football of his career, which is crazy considering he's already won 2 MVPs. Through 7 games, he has passed for 1,810 yards, 15 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions, while also rushing for another 455 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Their offense does look pretty unstoppable, and the idea of Derrick Henry running at full speed in the colder weather later in the year is enough to scare any defense. However, Jackson's 2-4 playoff record is going to hang over him until he can get the job done, and the defense does not look like it is in position to help. The run game is among the best in the league, but new defensive coordinator Zach Orr's passing defense is dead last in giving up 275.7 yards per game. The Ravens do look like the biggest threat to Kansas City, but the Chiefs will absolutely fancy their chances going up against that terrible pass defense.
Get you the 15. It wasn't inside the opening. This is the speedy man, Xavier Worthy, the fastest man to the end zone right away.
Elsewhere in the AFC, Joe Burrow and the Bengals have been the only team to register consistent success against the Chiefs, but they are currently sitting on a 3-4 record, largely thanks to having a very beatable defense. They don't look like a Super Bowl caliber team right now, but Burrow's 3 straight wins against Mahomes to start his career will definitely be at the back of Chiefs fans' minds should the Bengals find their way into the playoffs. The Houston Texans, as we all know, they entered the team as a popular Super Bowl pick and look like a lock for the playoffs thanks to their 5-2 record. However, they have looked shaky on offense on any passing play not called to Nico Collins and are fresh off of a disappointing loss to Green Bay in which CJ Stroud passed for under Stephon Diggs to the wide receiver room hasn't quite produced the magic that everybody expected just yet, but there is plenty of time for them to figure it out. The other team that will be catching Andy Reid's eye though is the Buffalo Bills, who received a much needed boost to their passing game through the arrival of Amari Cooper. A talented outside receiver was the one thing that this offense was missing, and he certainly gives them that. Buffalo is another team that looks set to win their division, but are the Chiefs really going to fear them in the playoffs, considering they've knocked the Bills out of the playoffs in 3 of the last 4 seasons? Straight up at this moment, every team in the hunt for the AFC title has its issues, and the Chiefs are certainly included in that, but they benefit from being the only team to definitively prove that they know how to solve their problems and deliver when it matters most. They are in the midst of a relentless dynasty with the talent, coaching, and historical evidence to prove that they are simply unstoppable. But I want to know what you guys think. How good are the Chiefs going to be? Are they going to win the Super Bowl this year? Do you guys want them to win the Super Bowl? Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys expect for them and just how good do you think they'll be considering how bad Patrick Mahomes has been playing this year. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and as always, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate all the love as we try to push to 50K this year. It's a steep goal, but we're trying to get there, man. As always, I will catch you guys in the next one.